Okay, hello everyone. I'm Masa Kinoshita, International Office of Earthquake Research Institute. Welcome to our video. I think this is maybe third or fourth video. I'm trying to take a series of videos with this kind of interview with the visiting researchers, hoping for promoting or encouraging future potential researchers who may be interested in visiting, staying ERI, and then to collaborate with researchers here. Okay, today I have a guest visitors from France with host professor here. So maybe I would ask you first to introduce yourself very briefly.
So hello, my name is Alexandre Schubnel. I am a research scientist, senior scientist at the Centre National de la Recherche Scientifique in Paris, France. I work at the Laboratoire de Géologie of École Normale Supérieure, and I'm the current acting editor-in-chief of Journal of Geophysical Research, Solidars.
Ah, yes.
My specialty is earthquake mechanics and rock mechanics from an experimental point of view. And I arrived in Japan at the end of August, and this is the end of my stay at ERI. 5 months and a half have passed by like this.
Right.
And I collaborate with Professor Eitaro Kato, whom I have known almost more than 10 years ago in Metz,
in France.
exactly in France, as part of a GSPS CNRS exchange program, where Kato-san was presenting his breaking results on the preparatory phase of the Tohoku-oki Daijishin. And I was showing the results I had on a deep earthquake in the laboratory, and since then we crossed paths many times, and we have a common interest in foreshocks.
All right, thank you very much. So you already kind of explained some kind of motivation and background of selecting, choosing here to stay. But what is your direct motivation or reason or whatever to visit 5 months here this time?
So there are numerous motivations.
Oh yes.
I would say that the first one is that Japan has played an important. Japan has played an important role in my scientific career, because I have actually did part of my PhD study at the Geological Survey of Japan at Advanced in Tsukuba, Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, under the supervision of Nishizawa-san. Then I actually worked a little bit with Shimamoto-san when he was in Kyoto University and then in Hiroshima University.
Okay.
And then I actually came to a first visit at ERI of 2 months in 2013. And then I have been closely following the slow earthquake and the slow earthquake science project, and now the slow to fast earthquake science project, which workshop I have been attending almost annually in the last 5-10 years. So I have a very strong attachment to Japan, and as a seismologist, I think this is a place where, in fact, being a seismologist may matter, because the earthquake are such an important, for the Japanese society. And this is also like where the first seismological science society was founded. It was in Japan, and last week I was amazed that I did the ERI lab tour, and I saw there was the 1905 Omori seismometer working, and that's actually this is like a piece of art. It was really marvelous to see that. Actually, to see a record of the 2011 earthquake with Omori seismometer, I think is really incredible.
All right. Yeah, of course, but we have a 100 years of history here, right? But the direct motivation to stay here for 5 months, you have some specific purpose for this stay.
Yes, so the specific purpose is a project that we have with Aitaosan, and also with a colleague is related to this project of Science to Slow to Fast Earthquake, and also with a colleague at the Faculty of Science, Idesan. So at looking at in the case of what we are doing, or starting to do with Kato-san, is to look at the foreshock sequence in Japan, and to see if we can characterize foreshock sequences in average, and then try to see if we can look at some influence of small perturbations such as tides on foreshock sequence.
Okay.
So Kato-san has very nicely given me access to a comprehensive, complete GMA catalog, which I have actually looked at a little bit, and I sent to a student in France who is now looking at it more thoroughly. And another part of the reason I'm here also is that I have a starting collaboration also with Hiraga-san, who has made a procedure to synthesize quite unique rocks. Some people in the community would even call it Hiraga type. And so I will discuss with him if I could access some of these rocks, and I have sent a few, thanks to Yoko. I have sent a few samples back to France where they are being tested in my lab.
All right. You have known Hiraga-san already, or did you meet him here first time, or?
No, I have known Hiraga-san also for a long time.
Of course, because he's also has a visit to France anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So as far as I understand, you are more on a kind of the rock mechanics or geomechanics side. You are seismologist. How? I think it looks obvious, but how actually, like you said, you can do the everyday work like collaboration thing. I just how do you?
Yeah, because during my PhD course, I also worked about the rock mechanics, and so I also squeeze rocks, many rocks during my PhD course. So I have been very interested in the rock mechanics, and also so maybe what we are interested in very same, so very common.
Okay.
So we want to know the earthquake communication process, and how we want to know how the earthquakes start. So now I'm based on the seismological data processing or observation side, but we are share the same goal or same interests. So it's easy for me to collaborate with RX, and I'm very excited to share the discussion with him.
Okay. All right. So So you have been both have been working longer than this day, but this time is really focused on like how the foreshock sequence. I mean, how maybe you want to clarify how this the faults behavior from the seismological observation, like foreshock or slow earthquake, whatever. Okay. And also you are trying to do some rock mechanical experiment with Hiraga-san, or trying?
Yes, so not here. So we are just using samples that Hiraga-san is producing to test them in our lab in France.
Okay.
So and those experiments we are looking at the role of fluids in general.
Sure.
And how mineral reaction can influence in that case serpentinization can influence the behavior and the rheology of rocks at high pressure and temperature.
So you have collaborated with students in your laboratory.
Exactly. So there is actually a postdoc who has just started and on this project, and so we have contacted Hiraga-san last summer about the possibility when I was writing the not last summer actually, one summer in 2023. So when I was writing the proposal to come to ERI, I contacted Hirage-san about whether it would be possible. And in the meantime, last summer we learned that we had Aochi-san, who is a colleague, Japanese colleague who worked in our laboratory in France, and I, and also a former visitor here of Kato-san, François Petrelis. We got a big project funded on in general like foreshocks and the preparation phase of earthquake scene, and so there will be more collaboration in the future on this topic, hopefully thanks to this project.
Okay.
So if there is a follow-up to the Slow to Fast Earthquake project, I'm sure there will be more collaboration.
So, well, I'm not a seismologist, but saying this, so you decided to stay here to collaborate? I see. So, is this, or maybe it's not a good question, but is this one of the best situations that you want to clarify, the foreshock and in the preparing phase to research these things? What do you think? I mean, the collaboration.
I could say that Kato-san is clearly one of the seismologists in the world who has the largest experience and knowledge about the preparation phase of earthquake.
Okay.
He is also probably one of the few who is also interested in rock mechanics, because during his PhD, as he said, he was doing rock mechanics, and also, I mean, Japan has by far, I would say, the most amazing, complete, earthquake catalog in the world. So if there is one place where we can maybe hope to look at it, it's actually in Japan. And so, a former PhD student of mine, on which Kato-san served as a jury member, actually had shown in the laboratory some behavior that now we would like to look at the natural scale to see if we can see the same behavior at the natural scale as we have seen in our very simple experiments, rock mechanics experiments.
Yeah. So in nature, foreshocks characteristics are very diverse actually. So, so we want to get some average or whole picture of the foreshock sequence.
How do you do that? That's a good question. The natural phenomena is so diverse, and you can only reproduce a part of by the experiment. I guess. How do you do that?
So what we have shown in the laboratory, also in the laboratory we have a lot of diversity, and and so instead of looking at foreshock sequence one by one, I think it's actually good to stack them to have some sort of average picture. And so maybe we could just, the idea that we have is maybe to, let's say, take all the earthquake of magnitude 3 of Japan and look at their foreshock aftershock sequence, do the same for the earthquake of magnitude 4, etc., and then try to characterize the average foreshock sequence of an average magnitude 3, of an average magnitude 4, and then from that characterization of the average, then we can actually discuss the variability. I mean, so in average this is this, and then of course it can be from no foreshock to like the Noto earthquake, months and months and swarm activity before, etc. So there is, but we can still try to characterize some average picture.
All right. Okay. So so you start with averaging to take a overview, kind of like that, because it's so diverse. But maybe after that, like you said, you want to average and then deviation from averaging. So it's a kind of step-by-step thing. I don't know.
It looks like
it looks like a step.
And in laboratory we can see the foreshocks.
Yes.
Every time almost.
but yeah, almost everything. Almost.
Yeah, but of course we have in the lab, even in the laboratory, we have some diversity. It depends on the geometry, rate distribution. So yeah, that knowledge is very useful to understand the heterogeneity of the project sequence in nature.
Yeah.
So and of course even in the nature, we have a potential to look for the more tiny projects. Now, based on the now current observation, that we the complete the detection limit of the earthquake magnitude.
That's right.
That's now magnitude 1, even the Japan 1. Greater than 0. At least so. But we should to more decrease the completeness or detection limit of the earthquakes.
Yeah.
Look for the more tiny projects.
Okay, so you're trying to pin down by the better high resolution observation to pin down. Then experiment side, you want to kind of expand,
Scale up
things.
Connection.
Scale
connection.
that's
coming.
All right. So then, maybe what is your future perspective, or what's the next step for you? You are not leaving. You are moving to the
Faculty of Science.
Faculty of Science. But and you after that, I heard that you try to make this experiment using Hirama-san sample in France.
Yes.
But what is your future? Okay, you keep trying to understand four-shock sequence and the preparation phasing from both sides, like seismology, and then what is your expectation in, like, say, 5 years from now? It's easy to ask. Easy to ask. Or 1 year, or whatever.
Expectation in 5
Expectation
years.
5 years. It's very hard.
You used to write a proposal. You have already have to write that.
Yes. So if everything goes well and Katsu-san follow-up proposal of the slow to fast earthquake is funded, and in our case Aochi-san and François Petrelis and myself, we already have this project. So there is probably, we're going to have we will try to have students, PhD students or postdocs, coming to Japan to work with Katsu-san. Although I know he's very busy, so I mean we don't want to ask but so there will be in the next years there will be more exchanges, hopefully, and then more exchanges probably will help us move a little bit forward. My personal belief is that we are still very, very far from predicting earthquake. So in 5 years we won't be there yet. But that's my bet. Maybe I am wrong now, that with machine learning, with some magic phenomenon will happen. But
yeah, well, it may happen. But I know it's 5 years too short. But what do you think is you want to your successor, like younger generation, to keep working, and someday, like maybe 30 years, 40, 50 years, through this, understanding should be made more complete, then it may lead to a real prediction. But that's a far goal, right?
Yeah.
But you think you're working toward that direction? Kind of.
I think yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Okay.
We want to know.
Yes.
What's happening? Before the large earthquakes in nature. So.
Yeah. Sure.
That is our final goal.
All right. So when you say that you want to ask young generation to keep, continue your work, maybe, then what do you think? Maybe you just keep working each other, but maybe if you need some more kind of the umbrella things, the framework things, what do you think? Like agreement or.
Yes, so in fact this is thank you for bringing up. There is a current agreement between CNRS, let's say the National Research Institute of France,
Yeah.
and University of Tokyo.
Yes, with the
This agreement has many sides and many science associated to it, and it would be extremely nice that seismology and maybe earth science as a general would appear stronger in that agreement. Also because there is a very long history of collaboration between France and Japan in earth science.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And there is also very active current collaboration. So I think it is important that our sponsors, know about the work we're doing. And maybe they realize that we also we are furthering our exchanges between France and Japan in our science.
Okay. So well, as far as I understand, scientists have ideas or maybe way to do that. What you need maybe money and human resource, right? Without that, it doesn't work. So my kind of the silly question is that if we have a kind of agreement or kind of framework things, does it help for your side, your institute, to get some more money or get some young students?
I think yes, definitely it helps to get more money.
It's not that easy, I know, but
and I am a generation in France where we grew up watching Japanese anime.
Oh.
So the
Really?
current generation is even more fond of Japan. So if we can tell them, do seismology and maybe you will go visit Japan. That's a very, very good way to attract students. It's a very good way to attract students.
that's substantial, right?
Exactly. No, I think so.
What about the government, like the stakeholder, the funding agency things? What do you think? I'm curious.
The funding agency, the funding agency is always very, when you write in a proposal that, that the research you do is not national but international.
Okay.
It's always a good, it's always for,
Right.
they see something broader, and it's always better. And as we were discussing, and this is why this program of ERI is really great. The exchanges and mobility of researcher is a very, very important part of training.
Okay.
So I mean, if you think it's important for senior scientists, I think my stay in Japan when I was a PhD student really completely changed my life. And my vision of things. So if you can have mobility for young researcher, is actually a very, very, very important part of how to change their vision and their career, etc.
Right.
I think it's very, very important.
Right. Okay. So I think the funding agency thinks like always they say international collaboration is important, even Japan.
Yeah.
But to enhance that things, maybe like you are already visiting Japan and doing research already, as well as someone else. This kind of it's just not telling a story, but you are actually doing that one. It may help funding agency guys to make them feel okay. It may be useful for that. Sorry about this. Are the French government interested in the geohazard like earthquake, tsunami? Because you don't have it in France. Very little, I mean.
So this is a very so there is
Wow.
this is I can answer in a very short way or a very long way. I will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the short thing is that in fact there is historical earthquake in France.
Sure.
Not very large, but the recurrence time of a magnitude 7 earthquake is about every 500 years. You know, like
You mean the eastern part? Like
in the eastern part and in the southern
Southern
part,
part.
and also
southern.
and also in the Pyrenees, so the border with Spain.
the Spain.
On top of that, we have also islands, you know, in the Caribbean,
Yeah,
where,
Caribbean.
where possibly you can
Subduction.
actually
Right,
you have
right.
subduction.
Right, right.
Then France is a highly nuclear country in terms that has two
Yes.
two things. The first thing is that we have nuclear power plants. So of course France is very interested in seismic hazard because of the safety of its nuclear power
Yeah,
plant.
of
You know,
course.
like so and in fact the catastrophe of the March 11th, 2000,
Yeah, of course.
of Fukushima triggered a vast number of changes in France on all its civil nuclear program.
Oh.
You know how like all the okay, so that's one part.
Yeah.
And then France is also a military nuclear power.
That part, all right.
And that part, as part of being a military nuclear power, France surveys the world, you know, to be sure that there is no more nuclear explosions, and hence we have a dedicated seismological network,
Okay.
you know, to do that monitoring. So the French government is very interested in seismology.
So they
Okay. All right. So it's not rather than geohazard, but you know, for your energy or some things. Okay. Good. I thought maybe I should ask also if this collaboration with French can help to convince Japanese government funding agency to get more money.
Yes, I think our University of Tokyo is now promoting the collaboration between France and Japan, and so he as he already explained, they are funding. So you and Ide-san from the
Yes.
group had already funded
Exactly.
maybe 2 years ago. 3 years ago?
Yeah. So last year, and now the student just started. The student just started in this February.
Oh, this February. Okay,
This February.
Yeah.
second year.
Exactly.
But this funding is lasting 3 years maybe.
Yeah,
3
well,
years, so-
yeah, 2027.
2027.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, yeah, I support Japanese government because our university is interested with the collaboration between France and Japan. So.
I think Florent Branguier also got funding.
Then
I
the
think
beginning.
with actually with the RI, I think with Yuji. I'm not completely sure. I think-
Yuji-san, right?
I think there is another grant that was funded
Oh,
actually
yeah, another
in
grant.
that program in
Oh.
seismology.
Okay.
It seems to me.
Okay, it looks like promising, you know. And, you know, Japanese people love Paris, France. And all right, speaking. Okay, maybe it's about time, but apart from science, what is the impression in life and everyday things staying here in Japan? Because you have already many experiences, but you know, for this time or whatever.
But it's been really great. So it's been really great. So it's a very different experience for me because I'm here with my family.
Yes.
So it's the first time I'm here with my family. So my children are going to school. We are living some sort of a, you know, the life of some of people in Tokyo. So we are very privileged because we don't live too far from the university. So that's actually we don't take too much the subway in the mornings. It's very good. And it's been really, really great to be able to discover Japan and share that part of my, you know, my life with my family. So it's been really great. And the help at ERI has been amazing. So you know, what may have seemed very complicated 2 years ago when we thought, let's come to Japan all together, was made relatively easy thanks to the international office, and Teruara-san has helped which has been really instrumental in our stay being so smooth, going so smoothly.
Okay.
So, one thing I didn't expect is that the winter in Tokyo was so cold.
Really?
Yes, it was
Paris is more cold.
Yeah, Paris is cold too.
Cold.
it's
know
the
that.
first time I'm in the winter in
Oh,
Tokyo,
in Tokyo.
and so really, I think maybe because it's so dry, it feels
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cold.
very
It-
dry,
it-
yeah,
it feels
yeah,
very
yeah.
That's
cold.
one reason. Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, it's so sunny. So this is,
Mhm.
you know, the Paris winter is maybe
Oh, it's different.
it's cold and very cloudy and very very depressing. Here you see the the sun. There is snow on Mount
Mhm.
Fuji.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Okay. All right, that's good. You know, I'm not sure how you manage the language program.
So how I manage the language problem? I speak just a little choto, enough to get by, and then there is Google Translate,
Ah.
and now
Oh.
now there is my son.
Oh,
because
you can-
because he can read now all the
Oh.
kanas, etc. So he can help me when we go to the restaurant.
Oh,
I
okay.
give the menu to
Translate.
him.
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
You
so
know?
you can interpret.
So no, then he can read, and me I know the name.
Oh.
So you know, like so you say like kamosoba. Ah, I know what is kamosoba. Very good for winter.
Oh, so maybe it's much better than Google Translator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
okay.
So does he learn Japanese in?
Yes, they have 2 hours of Japanese every week.
Oh.
And but also a lot of the students at the school are actually French Japanese, so they speak Japanese, you know, so they are really
That's good.
so they are
Sure.
really also like so they are with Japanese, I mean with Japanese people. So
Okay,
so they
mixing.
so in the during, you know, at lunch, etc.
Yeah,
a lot of
so
people
they
speak
speak
Japanese,
Japanese.
etc. So they are kind of embedded in Japanese culture.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Okay, maybe we should end this interview. We cannot do it forever, but can you just ask you one thing to the camera that for some message to the future potential students who are interested in this thing? Yeah, right. Sorry. It's all
So
of a sudden.
I think you should come to ERI. Really, I mean, this is an amazing place to do research. I mean, it's maybe one of the really world most amazing place to do earthquake science research in the world. So with the greatest scientists, and also this is a place where some of the greatest discoveries in the last 50 years in earthquake science have been made. So if you're interested in earthquake, you should definitely apply for the international visiting program at the ERI.
Okay. Even if you may have a danger to encounter earthquakes, still you think you should come and they should come.
Yes, definitely.
You experienced shaking?
Yeah,
You
we
think-
experienced a few shaking.
How was that? You enjoy shaking? Or?
Well, you enjoy the first second, and then after the second, you think like it would be nice that it stops because, you know, as we know, maybe as seismologists, you know, a large earthquake doesn't start large. You know,
You
and
know that.
so you hear, you know, but the large earthquake lasts very long.
Yes.
So when you see like it starts to shake, you say, "Oh, funny," and then you say, "Ah, it would be nice that it stops."
Okay.
All right.
And,
Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank
you
you,
very
thank you
much.
so much.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. おしまいです。
はい
ありがとうございます。Sorry, it was so long.
How do you mean?
Because I speak
What
too
do you-
much.
Too much.
Yeah, I speak too much.
Not too much.
ありがとうございます。
Like, he-
なんか